You're watching Drakewing Gaming. Enjoy the video.
Hey guys and gals, Neri here from Drakewing Gaming. As some of you may on Twitter, the Gaming Drag. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of Interea. So yeah, before we jump into it, just wanted to let y'all know that our Patreon is now up for as little as $5. Y'all can help support the channel and get some awesome rewards like permanent access to our community Discord server and full access to upcoming Not Safe for Work videos. Anyway, y'all, let's go ahead and jump right back in. Alarm chain, you were up, and let's go. Alright. How do they transport all the raw materials from the mining or the goods from the factories? Those are moved by foot and chariot to a major river, then placed on boats. Do people travel on the boats? No, the boats are only for the transportation of goods and resources, and the river only connects to Tricely. They refine the resources and distribute the goods to other cities. What are you going on about, anyway? I'm trying to figure out how people get around on Astra. From what I can tell, the main problem here is how isolated it is. On Earth, if a state wants to unify its people, it connects its people. That's usually done through roads, trains, aircraft, general public transport. It sounds like Ad Astra doesn't really have that. Ah, yes, well, we already have the roads and they've served us well for thousands of years. And they only serve slow chariots. I'm not sure how the parents work, or if maybe you can ask Kyllian for help, but high-speed transportation for the general public would probably be my first step. Amicus stares at me and I shake my head. Sorry, I don't know much about what's possible, so I probably sound crazy right now. Well, it's certainly not an easy or quick proposition, but it's something that can be looked into. I appreciate the idea, though one of the reasons we've never pursued a better connection with Lux is because its people do not seem to want one. Well, maybe it's because they feel so isolated, like they're not part of that Astra. Over time, that could change. I suppose that could be the case. I'll ask some of the others about it. Maybe we can ask Magus, since he's coming with us now? Amicus shifts, looking a bit embarrassed at the mention of the other wolf, and I feel bad bringing him up. Yes, that will likely be necessary. I'm tired of talking politics, and Amicus seems to just be tired, so I get up and join him on his own couch, and he sets aside his wine to hold me close to him. I feel the hardness of his cape's clasp against my head, and I help him pull the red fabric over his head, careful to set aside his golden crown first. It's slightly bent out of shape, I assume from the fight, but I don't mention it as he pulls me back in against his body. I begin to gently rub his chest and stomach, running my hands over his thick pecs and down his padded stomach, which I'm sure is still aching. We're both already falling asleep, so I give him a light version of my usual rub-down. I listen to his breathing and notice his pants crotch bulging just slightly, but I can tell he's too tired for any serious action tonight. Thank you for speaking candidly with me, Kyllian. You always have fantastic insight. Thanks, you're doing a fantastic job as an emperor. Amicus looks at me in a way that tells me that made him a bit emotional. I rub my head against his chest, and before long we're both drifting off to sleep. Amicus dreams heavily that night, several different scenes flashing through his mind. One in which his father chides him for his loss against Magus, another in which Virginia is berating him for failing to unify Ad Astra, and finally one where Kyllian stands in a large cavernous room filled with other humans. Amicus can tell that Kyllian is distressed, looking unsure, hesitant, and Amicus wants to help him, but he's not able to speak because he isn't there. These dreams are typical, but the last one transitions into something that isn't a dream, something that Amicus is becoming more familiar with as the parents exert their influence more and more. And it's about Kyllian. Amicus startles awake, looking down to confirm Kyllian is there with him, feeling immense relief as he does. Then he hears what awoke him, a knocking sound on the door. Amicus pauses, then whispers at the ceiling, "Come?" "Yes, Amicus." Cobb whispers back, leaving Amicus grateful that amongst the expensive decor they'd also installed a PA system. "Who is at the door?" Amicus is careful to keep his voice low as Kyllian shifts around against his body. Taking out water time. Though he's mostly adjusted to Ad Astra hours, Kyllian still sleeps a bit longer than the average wolf, and Amicus has to assume it's because humans need it. The Pharaoh's second son, Nefru, and the Kyllian ambassador to Ad Astra, Brunus. Amicus feels slightly annoyed, then moderately annoyed as the knocking sounds again, this time a bit louder, making Kyllian stir once more. Gently, Amicus removes himself from the couch, keeping the human propped up before slowly laying him back against the cushions. Deciding to forgo his cape and crown for now, the wolf strides to the front door of the estate, pulling it open quickly. The rush of frigid air almost takes Amicus's breath away after spending so much time in the climate-controlled villa. Amicus can tell immediately that something bad has happened just by looking at Nefru's face. Despite his clinical annoyance, Amicus feels a prickle of worry that it could have something to do with the delegation. "What happened?" Nefru stays quiet, on the verge of pouting. Amicus has never seen the jackal sulk in such a way. It's Brunus who finally speaks for him, when it's clear that Neferu isn't going to. Well, we were just out getting breakfast when we were, harassed, I guess. Amicus clenches his jaw tightly for just a second. And? Well, they started pelting Neferu here with, I don't know, fruit or vegetables or something. Amicus bites his tongue to hold back from cursing. What about the curfew? It came from the windows. We went back to our flat, but then some of them did start coming out and formed a crowd at our door, demanding we hand over Neferu. Amicus closes his eyes, leaning against the doorframe, easily able to picture the scene. Drones came in and stunned most of them, then we were told it'd be best for Neferu not to stay in the city. Damn it! Amicus squeezes his eyes shut, hoping that somehow word hasn't spread of the incident. Do not worry yourself. They seemed satisfied enough when I was escorted from the city. There were no further issues from what I was able to tell. Yeah, it was real isolated. It wasn't enough to get a big crowd going. Still, Amicus knows the optics are not good. Amicus turns his attention to Neferu, seeing that the jackal is trembling ever so slightly under his tensed-up muscles. Are you injured? No. I mean, they nailed you pretty good on the head a few times, even if it was just rotten fruit. I am fine. Neferu's tone is flat but slightly dark, and Amicus can tell that the jackal would like to not be visible at the moment. The wolf knows the feeling quite well himself. All right, well, you're welcome to stay here. There's a spare room towards the back of the villa. What about you, Brunus? Yeah, I'll probably be sharing that room with Neff, but I'll go back first and get our stuff. Is that safe? Bjarni is getting it, but I'll meet him halfway since he wants to know a bit more about what happened. It's quite clear to Amicus that Brunus wants to give Neferu time alone to sulk. Well, all right then. Let me know if any other issues arise and I shall deal with them. Of course, Your Majesty. Brunus bows as he backs away, muttering a see you later, Neff, as he does. Yes, see ya. Amicus stands before Neferu, the jackal's stiff posture making even the wolf feel awkward. While there are many things about Neferu that irritate Amicus, he at least can admit that the Kyllian has a knack for making things not awkward. It's slightly unsettling. Amicus clears his throat and steps aside, indicating Neferu should enter. So, do you wish to speak more on the matter? No. Well, the room is right over there. Amicus gestures at a doorway visible from the villa entrance. It's like, water time. Thank you. Apologies again for bringing complications to... Never mind that. Go get settled. Why, of course, Your Majesty. Neferu's voice is slightly mocking in response to Amicus's more commanding tone. The return of Neferu's irritating, cheeky nature, brief as it may be, is enough to put Amicus at ease. That whatever happened, Neferu will get over it. Now he just has to worry about whether or not Lux will get over it. Well, you'll have the place to yourself for the morning. Kyllian and I are going out. Not into the city, I assume. Of course not, especially after what happened. It's a private outing. Enjoy yourselves, then. Amicus watches the jackal go, letting out a long, exhaled breath which reflects his feeling of being deflated. Sapients like Neferu, the ones that rarely admit to what they are feeling, to what they are thinking, are frustrating to the wolf. So much for Kyllian bluntness. While he tolerates Neferu's behavior at Astra City, or at least is only mildly annoyed by it, it's a different issue out in these less civilized population centers. The wolf feels his insides turn with anxiety, wishing he prepared better for this mission. He rubs his stomach, still sore from yesterday's Pugnu match. He'd have to call a meeting later today so that he can start keeping tabs on everyone. For now, he needs to take Kyllian to the hot springs like he promised. Oh, whoa. I hold on to Amicus's paw as we make our way up to the side of the mountain, and I thought I was underprepared for yesterday. My sandals threaten to slip with every step, and after I stub my toe on one of the rocks, Amicus just picks me up. I don't mind at all, especially since no one's around to see it. How do you humans get around? Is Earth a perfect sphere with no geological features? Well... One second, y'all. Let me plug my phone in. There we go. Perfect. Well... I keep my arms wrapped firmly around Amicus's neck as he piggybacks me up the rugged and uneven climb. If I were dressed the right way with the right kind of shoes, this would be less of a problem. Well, I hope you bring all those things with you when you return. I'll make a mental note to do that. While the Kyllian drone continues to keep me warm, Amicus's warmth is much more welcoming, and I press my face against the back of his neck. The wolf trudges along in the foggy silence for a while, and I'm just content to lose myself in the hypnotic bouncing. After a while, I start to recognize the sulfuric smell that reminds me of the baths back at the palace. Shouldn't be long now. The hot springs are the main draw for tourism in this region. Most artificial baths are modeled after the composition of Luxian springs. It's healing for the body and the mind. Well, I can't wait. I've never really believed in the supposed ability of Adastran mineral water to heal physical ailments, but I can't argue with the mental part. After Amicus told me about what happened in Neferu, I wanted to invite him to go with us. I didn't think that either of my canine friends would have wanted that. Soon enough, I start to see clouds of steam, and eventually the pathway leads to a scenic outlook, one with a crystal clear spring right in the middle of it. Ooh, pretty. Oh, look, they even prepared our towels. He gestures at a bucket with towels beside it, and even I spot a few bottles stood up by the edge. There's a giddiness in the wolf's voice that I haven't heard in a good while, and I smile at Amicus's pup-like excitement. Amicus sets me down on the stony ground and begins to strip off his clothes. I do the same, though not quite at the same frantic pace. Blah. I've only removed my robe when Amicus does something else he hasn't done in a while. Oh my! I look up in time to see the wolf leap into the hot spring, seemingly without any care in the world. Again, it's nice to see. To know that Amicus is willing to act this way in front of me means a lot. I'm the only one. But I'm also a bit worried because I'm not sure he knows if that's really a safe thing to do, especially in a natural hot spring. The moment unfreezes, a moment that lasted less than a second before he hits the water. Amicus comes up quickly. Ah, Oedipal, that's hot! His voice is full of pleasure, though. Amicus reclines against the edge of the spring, laughing in such a relieved, satisfied way that I'm eager to go in myself. Amicus looks up at me. So, are you coming in to join me, Kyllian? I sidle up to the edge of the spring, and Amicus eyes my more cautious approach. I recommend the, what do you call it, cannonball technique? It's a bit hotter than the Pal's bath. Okay. I finally set aside my worries, telling myself to just lighten up. Though I do look where I'm going to land just to make sure there's no Brocs poking out. Then I jump. He's right about the heat. For just a moment I panic a bit, but within seconds before I even surface, the burn settles into a pleasant warmth that instantly seeps into my muscles. When I come back up, the first thing I notice is how little the water stings my eyes. Not only that, but it feels better. It might be all in my head, but there's a silky quality to the water, and I can immediately see why this is preferred over the artificial baths. Amicus smiles at me. Quite pleasant, isn't it? Yeah, it's kind of amazing, actually. Nothing beats the real thing. Gods, I needed this. After seeing the stiff, rigid way he carries himself all the time after becoming Emperor, it's nice to see him relax. It makes me a little bit emotional, which catches me by surprise. I want Amicus to be at ease all the time. To know that he's always stressed now makes me sad. You alright, love? Yeah, I'm good. This is great. Amicus looks at me for a good long moment, then sighs. I suppose I should just admit that I came here for my own selfish reasons. I didn't even ask you if you wanted to come. No, I'm happy to be here, Amicus, especially with you. Alright, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and check out our Patreon if you can. It always helps. Anyway, I love you all. I see you all in the next video. Bye-bye!